I ruined my future and have no clue how to tell my parents or what to do. TWSA. My 22F entire life, my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and I thought I wanted the same. I'm an only child, my parents are immigrants, and both have good jobs. Mom's a psychiatrist, dad's an engineer who wishes he had pursued medicine. They raised me to believe that a doctor was the only career worth pursuing and the only option I had. Until I went to college and got a bit of freedom from them, they actually convinced me that all other jobs were somehow lesser, and I actually thought it was my only option. They raised me believing that education and religion were the two most important things, and everything else, friends, hobbies, etc., were a complete waste of time. I also grew up Muslim, I'm not religious, and my parents were very strict growing up with who I could hang out with, what I could wear, what I could do. They would let me have friends over rarely, but only under their supervision, so I mostly could only see my friends in school and was often left out of stuff. I wasn't allowed to participate in after-school clubs. I wasn't allowed to have hobbies outside of academics. I wasn't even allowed to have a job, and if I did do anything, such as the occasional tutoring I'd do for family friends, they refused to allow me to be paid for it. They told me I didn't need to worry about a job or money ever, because they would provide everything for me. All I had to do was study hard and get into medical school. I was always interested in art/music, but any time I would get caught doing it, my mom would beat me or punish me by taking away my phone for weeks at a time, so I was never able to pursue the things I enjoyed. When I went to college, parents forced me to go to an all-girls private college and paid for everything. I majored in neuroscience, because my moon thought it was the perfect pre-med major and took the courses I needed to get into medical school. I didn't enjoy it, but I got decent grades, with a 3.65 average GPA the first 3 years. My first year of college was the best year of my life because I finally had some freedom from my parents, but unfortunately had to come back home for 1.5 years due to COVID. Even while I was in college, they were still very strict though, and would come to school randomly to make sure I was there, would constantly FaceTime me at random times to see what I was doing, and had my location. My senior year of college, my life completely changed though. My parents bought a house near my campus where I could finish my last year. This was mainly so I could be in the city, which was around a lot of hospitals, and they wanted me to get in my clinical/volunteering hours. I stay in one room and they are renting out the other 3 rooms. It was the most freedom I'd ever had, even though they put cameras everywhere around the house to see when I leave and who I bring over. I also had to come home every weekend, but still the freedom I had was amazing. Unfortunately, soon after I started my senior year, I had to deal with a stalker situation that resulted in multiple instances of SA. I won't go into much detail about the situation. I went to my school about it, and they helped me by giving me leniency on when I turned in assignments, but that was about it. I was too scared to involve my parents, knowing that if I did they would force me to come home and I'd somehow be even more miserable. I eventually went to the police with the support and encouragement of my BF, and that situation has been dealt with. However, it resulted in me being diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PTSD, and completely flunking my senior year of college. GPA dropped to a 3.1, my physical health had also gone to shit, and I was barely getting 4 hours of sleep a night due to nightmares. I hid all of this from my parents. I lost all my college friends due to not contacting them at all while this was going on. My boyfriend was the only one who knew anything. He was really worried about me and said I should tell my parents and that they'd understand and help me. I refused, but he didn't listen and told my mom while the 3 of us were together one day without telling me beforehand. She completely freaked out and refused to listen, saying we were lying to her and something like that would never happen. She didn't mention it again. He is a student himself, so doesn't have much money, but helped me pay for medication and therapy after this. I'm still working through it, but have improved since last year. During therapy, which I did for about 3 months, I also changed a lot. I realized I wasn't pursuing medicine for the right reasons, and now have no interest in pursuing it. My therapist encouraged me to try explaining this to my parents. I knew it wouldn't go well, but I tried anyways, and my mom again completely freaked out and said she would disown me if I did anything other than medicine, so I dropped it. She assumed I had only said that because I was feeling insecure about my ability to do it, and assured me she believed in me and I'd be fine. I also was encouraged to focus on my mental health and do things I enjoy. I've been finally pursuing things I've always wanted to, like singing and learning the guitar. I've also been working out and trying to improve my physical health, but this whole time my parents think I've been applying to medical schools. They keep asking me if I've gotten any interviews, which obviously will never come. I have no idea what's going to happen when I don't get in. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have nowhere to stay and no friends to stay with. I don't have a job or any money. I don't know how to tell my parents I lied. I know they are toxic, but I have no other family. The only person I have is my boyfriend, but he doesn't have the money to help me. I don't know what kind of job I would even want to do because all my interests are so unconventional, and there's nothing in the field I studied that interests me. The thought of being kicked out of this house and having to move back home with them makes me feel so helpless, but I don't even know if that will be an option because they might just disown me. Even though I've improved mentally, I'm still struggling. I know I'm an idiot for not thinking of a plan while I had some small freedom living away from them. It stresses me out so much that I've just been putting it off while I dealt with everything else. Now I barely have time before they figure everything out and I don't know what to do. I feel so lost and scared.